Let Bali be your teacher. These were the 5 words that my business coach had led our retreat with when I experienced Bali for the first time in 2023. And when she shared this declaration, I remember being like, okay, I've never heard this before about any other place I've been, but let me write it down because I'm supposed to be journaling. But by the end of the trip, I remember just being in awe of all that Bali had taught me about myself, about the way that I viewed life, and honestly about the way that I needed to carry myself going forward, especially as an entrepreneur. So if you're new here, hi, my name is Brianne. Welcome. I am currently taking you all through my travels in 2025 with the hopes of being able to just give you more awareness of the opportunities and the potential when it comes to traveling the world, and like taking my lessons, my advice, and just giving them out freely in hopes that they allow you to feel like international travel is more attainable for you. So let's talk about Bali being a teacher. The first time I went was 2023, as I just shared, and I went for a business retreat, so I honestly was expecting for my coach to be my teacher. But what was interesting is that Bali actually taught me way more than any business coaching ever could. It taught me the importance of, it was almost like Bali was like a permission slip for me to choose different, to live in alignment, to run my business in alignment with my values. And I realized that yes, you can always go to a coach for advice. You can always go to, a therapist for support. But the real, how do I say this? Everything that you have within you is everything that you need. And with Bali, I remember leaving just feeling like a weight was lifted off of my shoulders. There's a pace in which people on the island operate in that requires you to slow down. There's a harmony that people and nature and just everyone operates in that just requires you to identify what balance actually looks like. And there's a way in which you kind of just let your inner child come out to play that opens up the door for unlearning of ways that you used to do things, unlearning of habits that you had put in place because they were in alignment with the hustle culture that I feel like was so prominent, especially in the entrepreneurship world back in 2022 and 2023. So for me, the first time I went to Bali, it served as a permission slip for me to operate in the way that Brienne actually is able to shine, in a way that is actually aligned with my values, in a way that I'm able to actually feel alive in not just what I do in business, but also how I carry myself, what I choose to engage with, how I, evaluate what I say yes and no to. And so I wanted to pull out one of my many journals. This is from 2023. I don't know if y'all can see, but every one of my journals, I have the start and end date because we be journaling. I could honestly write several books just based off of lived experiences. But at the end of the retreat, I journaled and I said, Bali was a permission slip to go after what I really want to do, and doing it while being unapologetically me. This feels so liberating. I'm letting go of the artificial expectations that I put on myself and that others also put on me. Do you, boo? I really do talk to my later self, the self that will be reading this in the future. So do you, boo, period. I'm also letting go of the unnecessary stress that I put on myself. I'm so excited to step into this next season of my life. Thank you for being my teacher, Bali. And so it's truly remarkable how much your environment can truly pull out of you. And the second time I went to Bali, as I shared in yesterday's video, the first half of the trip was really to put in that work. Okay, we were working. A 5-day boot camp, very little sleep, but no distractions, grind. And it was one of the most transformational experiences of my life. But the second time around, I think 2 lessons I got out of it. The first one being the importance of falling in love with the journey. Whether that journey is the journey of life, whether that journey is getting towards like taking those baby steps towards that next goal that you're looking to achieve, whether that journey is the trip itself, like genuinely embracing and falling in love with the process. I think that was definitely like the biggest lesson learned from the first half of my trip, which was the boot camp. Now, the second half of the trip was my time to dilly dally and frolic. And that was a solo experience for me. And I will say that the biggest lesson that I learned during that time was that I am my most creative and I am my most free version of myself. Let me try that again. I am the most creative and free version of myself after I have let my inner child out to play. And Bali is one of those places in the world where you can truly, like as an adult, feel free to just explore, free to just wake up and decide. Like that is my mantra every time I go to Bali. Very little on the agenda, wake up and decide what you want to do. Like, yeah, just wake up and be like, I want to go bike in some rice paddies, or I just want to go like sit on the top of a cliff and watch people surf and look out into the beautiful ocean and then watch the sunset when it's time for dinner. Like there is just so much ease and opportunity for any of your heart's desires just to like flow. And so, you know how I mentioned that I having all these journals. So this one's from 2025. I went to Bali again in April of last year, and yeah, so I wrote, fall in love with the journey. The breakthrough to the next version of you is always the goal. It's not always about hitting the next number in sales or value. And then I also wrote, stop trying to prove yourself or explain yourself to people in your content. Just share you. The last thing that I had written here was, you need to let your inner child out to play more. That is when you feel the most aligned. So again, like it's just, she's a very magical place. And spoiler alert, a Black girl getaway will be soon. A Black girl getaway retreat will soon be finding its way in a Bali villa in 2026. And I cannot wait, because I think that so many Black women deserve to feel this level of liberation, this level of joy, this level of ease, this level of just being taken care of and almost feeling as though like an island is like that warm, fuzzy hug that you've just been waiting for. And so if you have a trip planned to Bali in the near future, I really encourage you to go, not just, you know, for the vibes, not just for the picturesque views, not just, you know, for the excursions, but actually go with an intention in mind around, you know, maybe what you're trying to learn more about yourself, or ways that you can lean into truly authentically living out your life in alignment with your values, or even like, what are my values? Like the level of presence that you can experience in Bali is truly like an open door for you to get more in alignment with yourself, if that makes sense. So love her down, and would love to hear if you all are planning to go to Bali anytime soon. If you want any recommendations around places to stay or parts of the island to visit based off of, you know, what you're looking to achieve or what you're looking to experience, feel free to leave any of those comments in the comment section. And if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like. If you're new, please be sure to subscribe. And tomorrow we're gonna go even deeper in the details about my experience in Bali. And so without further ado, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.